Hi there, this is Heeran Workman with Heeran's Home Team. For today's video blog, we have Jon Vacha from Home Standards Inspection Services with us today. Hey Jon, how's it going?
Hi, Huron. Going really well. Thanks for
Oh,
having me on.
okay, awesome. Hey, listen, so I'm doing this video blog and it goes out to the people that I know, and then we also post it on YouTube. And I do have a few questions that I wanted to go over with you. So
Sure.
tell me, before I get into the questions, tell me a little bit about the company and the types of inspection services that you guys provide.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Home Standards Inspection Services was founded in 2008. We started with two inspectors, me and my dad. And since then, we've grown to 7 inspectors.
Oh,
So we're one of the larger inspection companies. We service Omaha, Lincoln. I was actually in Red Oak, Iowa this morning. So we go about 50 miles, 60 miles around those 2 metros. And we do primarily home inspections for buyers.
okay.
And we also do radon testing or mold testing.
Okay, awesome. So when you're doing a typical inspection, okay, and I'm as a listing specialist, so most of the home inspections that I see happens after a listing gets a purchase contract. We're in the
Right.
escrow pending process, and then the buyers hire a home inspection company like yours to do the inspection. So what is a pre-inspection? Because that's the topic of conversation today. How is that different than what I just explained?
Right. Yeah. So basically, like you just explained, what a buyer's inspection, normal home inspection is. A seller's inspection, basically, the client is going to be the seller who is listing their house instead of the buyer who's looking at buying the house. So, and we'll do the pre-inspection primarily before the house is listed. Sometimes it's listed while I'm doing the inspection. So it's basically it's the client is different. It's the seller who we're doing the inspection for instead of the buyer.
Okay, so for a pre-inspection, just so our viewers know, the seller actually pays for the inspection and they're your clients, not the buyers, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So what are the actual benefits of a seller paying for their own inspection and doing a pre-inspection before the listing is even on the market, or maybe like right during it being listed without getting a purchase contract yet? What are some of the
Yeah.
benefits?
Yeah, like number one for me, the benefit I see for the seller is they're going to be able to avoid surprises that would come up when a potential buyer has that home inspection.
True.
A lot of times, if an issue is found that no one is aware of until that buyer inspection, there's a limited time of space to get that corrected. It could be required by the potential buyer to be by a licensed electrician who could charge more. Just scrambling to find those contractors and get things fixed can be difficult sometimes, I know. So having
Yeah,
that
no,
seller
that's
there,
truly the case. I mean, literally, if I were to have a contract pending on one of my listings and the buyer has done their home inspection, basically, they normally send over an addendum with a few things, or maybe a lot of things, depending on the house, asking the sellers to either fix or replace a few things, prior to closing. But what sellers may not realize is that when we get the addendum in hand, we literally only have like 2-3 days before our time period is up, before we have to respond back to them on what
yeah,
the sellers are going to do or not going to do. And in that amount of time, if they're scrambling to get a bunch of contractors out there to get bids, it could delay closing. It could throw off a lot of other things. And sometimes they are really pressured for time to provide an answer without having the right research done to figure out what it's going to cost and what it needs. So that's a great idea. Any other benefits that you want to point out?
sure. Like I think sometimes it'll help also market a listing. It'll
Mm-hmm.
give it kind of a degree of professionalism, or show that the seller is being proactive,
Yeah.
uh, having their house looked at professionally.
Okay.
An pre-inspection sign in the yard, a booklet on the table, kind of goes through the things that were found. And that booklet we put on the table, a lot of times it'll be just kind of a quick checklist. Say this outlet wasn't working, and then the seller can just write a note on there, fixed. Check mark, this is done, this is done. It just gives a potential buyer a good idea of the seller and being proactive on their
Oh,
next.
absolutely. That's a lot of reassurance. Okay, so when you're doing a home inspection or a pre-inspection, how long does it take from you getting to the house and actually being done with it? And what are the types of things that you're looking for?
Yeah, so typically a home inspection will take about 3 hours on a typical 1,600, 2,000 square foot house. About 2 hours to inspect and 1 hour to write up the report on site. Typically about 3 hours. If it's a larger house, a little more time. Yeah, things that we look for, we go on the roof, we go in the attic, we take off the electrical panel cover, we look at the HVAC systems. We're looking for big ticket items like foundation, concerns, stuff like that, plumbing, and all the bathrooms, the kitchen, we run the appliances. So it's really trying to give an overall picture of the condition of the house from the opinion of a home inspector who does it, professionally.
Perfect. Okay, so at the end of that 3-hour period, now are you meeting with the sellers at any point to actually go through what you found, and how long does that take?
Absolutely, yeah. So a lot of times the sellers are there the whole time. Sometimes they come home from work and then they're going to meet me there to go through the findings. And so typically going through that takes about half an hour just for me to explain things that were in the report, maybe walk around and show them a couple different things.
Okay.
Typically a seller is pretty aware of most things, but sometimes a seller can have kind of rose-colored glasses with the house. You live in it for long enough, you just don't think some things are a problem. But
Okay, so out of all of the home inspection, I guess, orders that come through your company, what percentage do you see people actually doing pre-inspections versus escrow, like during pending process inspections?
Sure. It's a lower percentage. I'd probably say somewhere between 5 and 10%.
5 and
The
10%?
total are a pre-listing inspection. But over the years, we have seen that percentage kind of tick up. So
okay, actually, that's a lot larger than I thought. I thought it was definitely going to be less than, like, I don't know, 3 to 5%. So okay, there's an upswing.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, you know what? I do get asked the question quite a bit from different sellers that I meet with. Okay, so out of the inspections that you've done or you've seen your company do, what are, let's say, like the 3 most common things that you find and tag in a home inspection that you want the sellers to take care of? Or you want to take care of?
Yeah, sure. A lot of times, just about in every report, we make notes about the grading around the house, downspout extensions. Basically, drainage around the house usually can always be improved on a house, and that's just going to create. It's going to stop any drainage issues with water coming into the basement. Also. The soil around the house can't swell and put pressure and create foundation problems, stuff like that. So just moisture issues, pretty simple to take care of, but can really help a lot with the house. Another thing, just HVAC, furnace and AC. Typically there'll be something on there we'll see, but we'll recommend be repaired or at least serviced. A lot of times I know. Having the HVAC system just serviced by an HVAC person too prior to listing, of course, is a good idea. Another thing, that comes up quite a bit on houses that are older. Sometimes there's certain issues with houses a certain age. You get 3-prong outlets that are ungrounded, just because prior to like the 60s, the wiring that they had in the house was just a 2-wire system. So we just explain that to the sellers. Sometimes if they switch their outlets back to a 2-prong, it's the simplest way to get it back, so it's not kind of false advertising with that new 3-prong outlet that isn't actually grounded. So little electrical, little plumbing things usually are going to be on just about every report.
Okay. So whether it's a pre-inspection or a typical home inspection during the escrow process, is there anything that the sellers can do to the home to prepare before a company like yours gets there?
Sure. Yeah, I like to see, when I pull up to a house that, maybe the garages are empty, cars are pulled out of the garage, makes it a little easier to see everything. Attic spaces, a lot of times are in a closet where you have a lot of clothes hanging up there.
Okay.
If it's made accessible, that's great. Make it easier to get into the attic. Electrical panels sometimes are in the back corner of a garage if boxes. back so we can get to them. That helps.
Okay,
So,
awesome,
yeah.
awesome. All right, and then, so if someone wants to order a home inspection with you or order a pre-inspection before getting their house on the market, how can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. They can either call our office. Our number is 402-392-2020, or they can schedule online 24/7 a day, 24 hours, 7 days a week, actually. And our website is homestandardsinspections.com. So a couple of different ways to get a hold of us.
Okay, and then if someone wants to schedule an inspection with you directly, are they supposed to bring up your name, or do they just randomly get signed one of your inspectors?
Yeah, they sure can. We have 7 inspectors. We all try to do things about the same way. We're all very knowledgeable and have a lot of experience. But yeah, if somebody wanted to pick one certain inspector online, you can see their availability and pick that. Or also, when you call and talk to Sue at our office, she'd be happy to match you with whoever you'd like.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for the education today. I do get, these types of questions quite a bit when I go on listing appointments. So this is going to be real valuable information that I can send over to them. Is there anything else that you would like to add before we are finished up here?
I don't think so. I'd just like to thank you for the opportunity again, Heeran, and I look
Oh, no
forward to
problem. You know
speaking
what?
to
I've been recommending your
your
company
client.
for many, many years, and certainly your father is an amazing inspector to work with. So I'm glad you guys have grown and that
Yep.
you joined the business. Thanks so
Yeah.
much.
Yep. Thanks a lot.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.